This is me having a panic attack. You just see me from the outside and you probably wouldn't notice that I feel very uncomfortable right now. I'm going to show you how it looks like inside of me. I will guide you through an abstraction of my inner condition while having a panic attack, and how my perception of myself and of my surroundings change when I make use of my method and overcome the panic attack. This shows how I perceive a panic attack. This is how the outside world and my inner conditions feels like then. I am overwhelmed and extremely distracted by lights, sounds, colors, and movements of things, also by movements of my own body. For example, turning around my head or walking around feels like this. I'm having a crossed eyes disease, and this gets extremely more uncomfortable while having a panic attack. I cannot see straight anymore then. But through recognizing that I feel bad, I already do the first step of the method. I admit the situation. I try to accept that right now feels like I'm in the center of my trouble. I feel like endlessly surrounded and drowned by it. In the next step, I start my inner observation. I try to focus on my breath. As air enters my body through my nose and making my chest rise, and as the air escapes from between my lips and my chest sags down again. But especially in the beginning, it's really hard to find a focus. I get distracted a lot, so sometimes I'm losing the attention on myself before I was even able to mainly grab it. And then I have to start over and over again and try to lead my distracted focus back to myself again. So again, I try to find a focus inward and I try to keep it. That's step number 3. I keep my mind occupied with motion. That means that I continue observing what makes my body move. That's my breath, my heartbeat, my body temperature, which makes my skin wet or dry. That's all what keeps my body, therefore my life, in motion. I couldn't turn off the distraction of the trouble yet. It still feels like screaming at me, but they're not wanting to defend it anymore because I'm mainly focusing inward. I will be able to get into distance to it. That's the 4th step, perceiving the distance I am able to get into. Through making myself occupied with observing my inward so constantly, I also acquired the knowledge that the trouble was surrounding me and caused my uncomfortable feelings, but not owning me. Knowing this makes me feel so much safer and makes me able to get into distance to the uncomfortable trouble. Once I perceive that I safely distance myself from the trouble, I can start facing it. I profile its character traits through analyzing its shape, its colors, and the motion it has. I am aware that I took all liveliness with me when I distanced myself, and rely that I contain all life and not the trouble. So I do the 5th step, I neutralize the trouble. I have the power to deprive it of all life. Through internalizing this awareness, I can watch the trouble losing its existence. I combine everything I designate as the trouble in one form. Shaping it in a form is a symbol for catching and caging the uncomfortable. Now I make it simple and flat. I suffocate it and at last eliminate it, which is the 6th step. After I erase the trouble of my inner world, I turn to my safe spot. My safe spot is my comfort zone. Here I feel safe and allow myself to rest after my exhausting journey of facing my panic attack. When I'm resting and obviously feel that I overcame the very uncomfortable situation from the beginning, I can note this process as a very useful practice. I create positive associations that I can remember every next time I'm having a panic attack. I want to learn to see the next uncomfortable situation which I have to go through as a practice which will get easier from time to time. I manifest that I did a good job here and that my mind is able to overcome and in the future to prevent this very uncomfortable situations. Whenever next time a panic attack or any signals of a panic attack confronting me, I will try to not defend myself against it. That makes it even worse. Even if I feel way too overwhelmed to handle the situation, I motivate myself right now with this positive connotation that I will overcome it better and faster from practice to practice. With giving up the urge from the beginning to control the situation, I earned the peaceful and incredibly valuable self guidance through my inner world. With admitting and facing the situation and deciding to go on this journey, I practice self care and appreciation of the precious life that lies within me. From time to time, I learn to faster get access to my inner source of life, and I strengthen the basic trust to my inner nature, which will always know and stimulate my inner order completely naturally by itself.